Welcome, everyone, to the Google.org presents this Reuters Digital Vision Fellows from Stanford University. Very glad you could make it to join us today. We have a wonderful array of projects for you to explore, and we're very grateful that you've joined us, and we encourage you after the presentation to take your time, learn more about the projects, and especially talk to the fellows who are here today. Now a few words from Megan, a former fellow alum.
Hi. I had the chance, I guess 2 years ago now, to join Stuart, and I'm a Googler. I run the new business development team, and I got a chance to take some time out. I actually did the program half-time and did some of the projects. And so just by way of introduction of the program, these guys are amazing social entrepreneurs, and the program is housed at Stanford, but people come from all over the world, and as they do quick intros, you'll find that out very quickly. What's really interesting is it takes a very Silicon Valley model, because you're getting people who have initial startup ideas, getting them to Stanford and giving them sort of almost incubator space and some teammates to start working on these projects with. And later, I think we're going to do a quick run through where everybody's going to say quickly what their project is, and there may be a couple others that are a little bit longer after Stuart talks. And then we're going to step into the back, and they're going to be available. So whichever projects looked particularly interesting to you, you can follow up, and they'll do sort of a poster talk, which will be available. So one of the things that I found really helpful when I did it is that probably 2/3 of the fellows come from the developing world and outside the US, and about 1/3 are more Silicon Valley types. And by blending these two groups, people have sort of the traditional methods of Silicon Valley of building rapid prototyping and getting things out there together with people who really know what's going on was a great thing. So I learned a lot, and in my own project, I ended up finding I was working on helping get students to be able to develop projects for the developing world in emerging markets as part of their coursework in their final year of school, especially engineering students. And I started incubating that, and then ended up finding out that there were several programs already started, and shifted my project to actually just support those groups and help them get a lot further, notably a project at MIT. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so I'm going to turn over to Stu, who's the incredible director of this program, and let you go.
Thanks, Megan. I'm going to keep my water with me. And Megan, as you probably know, for those of you who know her, totally underestimates her contribution, because she's really she brought a vitality to the program that really extended throughout all the fellows projects in her year. And I think it's still reverberating to this day. I thought I'd talk briefly about how the program works, and also a perspective on why social entrepreneurship might be interesting to people at Google, in addition to the obvious doing good for people. I've been working in high technology now for the bigger part of my life, and in Silicon Valley since 1988. And I've always felt that there were three forces that were driving this industry forward. All three of them technology-based forces. One was the increase in power in microprocessors, which made computing more and more possible and more available to people. A second was the availability of low-cost memory, which really made the storage of files possible in a way on computers that had never happened before. And the third was the rise of networks, which really connected people in a way that allowed them to transcend the barriers of space and time. Well, what's been happening in computing, as we all know, is that the power of computing has been tracking along with Moore's law for almost 3 or 4 decades now. It's just rather incredible that we've had this exponential power of computing with us for as long as we've all been alive, and it shows no sign of slowing down. At the same time, if we look at what's happened in the memory business has actually been accelerating at a faster rate than the microprocessor, to the point where on a regular basis the availability of memory is exceeding that exponential factor of Moore's law. And the third piece, networking and data networking, has really also, although it hasn't risen as quickly as the first two, we're finally at a point where the connectivity is making it possible for almost all of us to be on a network almost all the time, and that's really a long promise that has taken a long time to come, but finally feels like it's here. When I think about our program here and its focus on the developing world, though, I think there's two additional factors that make this interesting, both for the impact that it's going to have on people and for the potential it will have for people who work in technology to reach people with valuable tools. And those two additional factors are the availability of wireless connectivity, and perhaps most importantly of all, the fact that in the past couple of years, most of the population in the world has become urban. And this movement to the cities, combined with the availability of wireless networking and the three original factors that have always been available with computing, really make for an exciting moment where we can start to think that most of the world will be connected through the internet to each other. And I think this is a really important moment, inflection point almost in history. What's interesting, too, is when you start talking about things like most of the world, well, most of the world doesn't live in North America or Europe. They don't work in enterprises the way we're accustomed to. They don't have the same kind of tools available to them, nor do they have the same interests. They have human needs, but they don't necessarily have the same organizational life that we're all accustomed to. So it's highly likely that this new connectivity that reaches people is going to affect them, it's going to matter to them differently, and that it's going to be used differently. And if you ask yourself, you know, how can an innovation, say the types of innovations that we see regularly coming out of Google, you know, reach someone in the developed world, someone in the United States, there's a pretty clear understanding of how that would work, whether that person's a consumer or an employee of a large organization. But if you think about how these innovations and what innovations will they be, how will they reach people in the developing world, there's really a need for a new interpreter, someone who understands the needs of the developing world and can translate the opportunities afforded by technology to those people in a way that they can use them. And that's, I think, really where the Reuters Digital Vision Fellows that we have here come in. They're social entrepreneurs. By that, what we mean by that is that they bring to Stanford a very deep understanding of the needs of the people and the needs of the people in the communities they represent. And they look to trying to take those needs into the realm of opportunities that technology affords and come up with solutions that people can actually use and implement. And that intersection is really different from the typical sort of enterprise-based innovation that we've seen so often in the US. And it turns out that, excuse me, in the trade-off between understanding technology and understanding the needs of a sector, it turns out, in my opinion, that you really need to have both areas covered. You know, if you're just a brilliant technologist, the possibility that you're going to be able to actually perceive what's needed and implement that exactly is quite low. And if you're just a brilliant social activist, you know, with a real passion for changing the world, the chance that you're going to make all the right technology choices is also pretty low. So the Digital Vision program at Stanford is really an effort to, as Megan has said, to blend these two things together, to bring people who understand the needs of communities together with people who work in technology. And as we go forward, it's really our strongest hope that we can, you know, embrace this incredible set of talent that we have here, that we see here at Google, and really work with Google people on our exciting problems, with the idea of going from the billion people who are connected to the 4 billion people who will be connected through these advances in technologies. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Stu. And right before we get to each presentation, I just wanted to let you know that we'll be showing this afternoon series on Google Video. So hopefully we can really get the word out for everyone who is present, who doesn't have a lot of time to talk, but at least can tell the world about your project. So that's one thing I'd like you to know. The second thing is we have been working with fellows already at Google. We've been supporting 2 fellows a year financially and sponsoring their attendance with the Reuters Digital Vision Fellows program. So there's been a commitment at Google for some time towards this program, of course not the least of which is yielding amazing people like Megan, but also connecting with Google.org and helping us. And in the course of the last year, while we've been establishing Google.org, we've also funded one of the Reuters alums, which is Bridge Kothari, who is the mastermind behind the same language subtitling project, which we have funded. That project came out of this program. And more recently, we've been working on a project called GNet, which is an ISP in Bangladesh. And we've been helping them in a lot of ways in helping get their ISP services up and running. So to bring that home to what we're doing here today, the Reuters program has already been really helpful and influential in what we're doing. So without further ado, we'll do the short presentations, and then once each person finishes, you'll just walk down, stand by your easel, and at any point, feel free to get up and talk to people if you like, or stay through and wait for Q&A. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jason Banneker from the Philippines, and my project is an open source technology business incubator to build IT capacity in developing countries and catalyze innovation systems. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rita Sandhu, and I'm actually a collaboration fellow, which means I don't have a project per se, but I'm a resource for the other fellows on their projects. And what I bring to the table is over 15 years of my high-tech marketing and business skills from the Valley to take projects from sort of idea phase to prototyping to eventually creating social enterprises.
Thank you, Rita. Sam Perry, one sentence, one long run-on sentence, no haiku, no punctuation. Look to your left, look to your right, consider yourselves the world population. 1 in 3 of you will be subject to a catastrophe at some point in your lifetimes. What 7 to 10 days is about is trying to help prepare populations ahead of disaster, because an ounce of prevention we're discovering really is equal to a pound of cure. And as Dr. Larry Brilliant has said as recently as this week with his TED Prize wish, if we could develop an early detection and rapid response, and we're part of the rapid response.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Maranga. I'm from Kenya. I'm collaborating in a project with the Grameen Foundation, USA, on a project that will help automate microfinance institutions in the developing world to make them a little more operationally efficient. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Aman Grewal from India, and my project is creating a virtual rural stock exchange for forest co-ops in India. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Chertok, and I'm from the Bay Area. One of the biggest problems in the developing world is the massive unemployment, but also the low capacity that people have to take jobs, and particularly technology jobs. And my project is about creating a technology-related business that does work to process digital video.
Violence against women is a global health problem on the scale of AIDS and TB. And my project focuses on reducing the incidence of violence and eradicating female illiteracy by the year 2025. My name is Shachi Shantinath, and I am from India, the United States, and Switzerland.
Hi, my name is Laura Cuso. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I am also a collaboration fellow, and I'm using my background in user-centered design and usability to work with the fellows here to keep their users at the center of their projects. And thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Mitra Fatullahpur from Iran. My project is Farsi TeachNet. Farsi TeachNet provides educational materials for Farsi-speaking teachers around the world, especially in Iran, Afghanistan, and Tajikistan, and hopefully rewards teachers for their contribution. Thank you.
Today, 200 million Latin Americans live but do not exist. They have no voice. the Taos network of local micromedia franchisees will give them voice and a way of making a better living. My name is Jose, and I'm from Venezuela.
Good afternoon. My name is Uwe Sauga. I am from Estonia. My project connects budding entrepreneurs in emerging countries, beginning in Estonia, with experienced volunteer business advisors in North America and European Union in mentoring relationships. We use internet-based technologies for that. I also collaborate with Shachi Shantinath on the violence prevention and literacy project. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Karen Kopic, and I work with Stuart Gaines at the Digital Vision Program. What Rachel had asked us to do was tap into the brains here with the people at Google and do what Megan said was very beneficial, which is mix some of your insights and knowledge with some of the key problems that some of our projects and fellows are facing. So what we're going to do now briefly is four fellows and 3 projects are going to do a little bit more in-depth description of what their project is about and then a big problem that they're facing. And we can either do question and answer after and help them solve the problem or go out to their poster individually and help think through. But the idea is to tap into the brain power and hopefully make this fun for you as well and a bit more informative. So the first issue or lady we have is Avni Jamdar of Cooperative Connection.
Good afternoon, everyone. My project is called Cooperative Connection, which is a social venture that will provide disadvantaged women in the developing world with economic opportunities through a fair trade brand of sweatshop-free clothing that is dedicated to preserving artisan skills. I'll unpackage that. Many countries in the developing world are comprised largely of an informal workforce. In particular, in India, about 93% of the economy is in the informal sector. More women than men belong to the informal sector. And the rapid pace of globalization in many of these countries has really increased the state of informalization rather than bringing better jobs. So in using the market to leverage change in these communities, there are several efforts underway, one of which is the Self-Employed Women's Association, which is really where our story begins. In 2001, there was a massive earthquake in Gujarat in India, which decimated the livelihoods of thousands of families that lived there. Seva, which is an NGO which organizes women, went in to sort of rehabilitate these families and discovered that there was a real economic development opportunity there. And so they brought about 15,000 women as members on board and formed a cooperative to use their traditional artisan skills and market them in domestic and international markets. So what Seva and other such cooperatives lack is really market information and feedback about product design to really make an impact in the market. So it is not sufficient, according to us, to connect them directly to the buyer, because all that does is increase their sort of contact, but it does not solve the issue of increasing their scale of operations. So what Cooperative Connection will do is to operationalize that connection by creating a brand that will act as a platform where artisan groups can pitch their products. And the way we want to do that is by building a community online of women where producer women can tell their stories to the end consumer and enrich that connection. And the way we would like to scale up is by working with a lot of cooperatives. So we are currently, we've come out with a line of skirts, which you will see near my poster, and we're using their traditional skills to create this brand. What we're currently up against is really how do we build a brand to engage more and more women who fall in the LOHA segment of the market, which is the lifestyles of health and sustainability, sorry. And we would like you to engage in a discussion with us about how do we build a virtual community of women that enriches the experience both for the producer as well as the end consumer. Thank you.
Next, we have Atif Mumtaz, who has telehealthcare in Pakistan, starting in Pakistan.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Atif Mumtaz, and I'm from Pakistan. And my project is telehealthcare for disaster relief. Now, the mission of the project is to create a low-cost and effective solution whereby doctors can treat patients remotely through the internet or using telemedicine. Now, what does that mean? Primarily, the idea is that, say, a doctor sitting in Stanford Medical Center and a patient, let's take the example of the earthquake in Pakistan, so Kashmir maybe, and using the internet technologies, we are able to connect the two together, and the doctor sitting in the US can diagnose and treat the patient in Pakistan and help them out. Now the question is, why would we want to do that? There are many issues, especially in developing countries. If you look at the last 3 disasters that have happened, the tsunami, the Katrina, and now the earthquake in Pakistan, you'll notice that in developing countries, the local infrastructure was totally gutted. In fact, even in New Orleans, it was gutted. And plus, the doctors that went in to help were very few. I'll give you an example of Balakot in Pakistan. There was virtually no doctor and no facility at all running after the earthquake. And patients had to get treatment 8 hours drive away from there. Not even walk, 8 hours of driving in a car. Now that's so difficult for people to get there. So if doctors are not able to get there, we are trying to get through the internet doctors to them and try to help them. And the second reason why we want to do this is, if you look at any relief work, you'll notice that relief agencies usually stick around for 4 to 5 months, and then they move to the next disaster or to the next target. And usually, patients over there are left in the open, and they still need support. Our telemedicine network is going to be there even after relief agencies move. So we will be there for a year or 2 years to help them rehabilitate back into life. So these are some of the goals of the project that we are trying to do. And one of the major questions that we have that we're trying to look at is we have thousands of doctors that are signing up with us, and there will be, in a disaster, there are thousands of patients at the same time. How do you match a doctor with the right skill set for a patient in a very short span of time? And that's one of the challenges that we're trying to solve using our system. Thank you.
And why don't we give a nice round of applause for our fantastic fellows. Feel free to mingle, and please partake of the beverages and snacks.